Some people think karma takes too long, but sometimes it just waits for the perfect moment. Because when a woman spent a decade tormenting a struggling single mother and her 2 children, controlling them, humiliating them, and nearly destroying one young man's life, she never imagined that 20 years later, the boy she tried to break would be the one to quietly take everything from her. And she wouldn't even realize it was him. I want you to imagine being 9 years old. Your father is gone, your mother is heartbroken, and the world feels unstable. And then, just when things couldn't feel heavier, your mom moves you and your sister into what she hopes will be a safe place. Her older sister's mansion. A 6-bedroom monument to wealth, privilege, and control. But this wasn't a home. It was a kingdom. And the woman ruling it? She was a tyrant. The protagonist, our storyteller's younger brother, had no idea he was stepping into a nightmare. Aunt Elle had married into old Georgia money, won big in a scandalous divorce, and suddenly believed she was royalty. Not earned royalty. Purchased royalty. And she became drunk. Absolutely intoxicated, with power. This woman didn't run a home. She ran a military base. But instead of soldiers, she had 2 terrified kids and their exhausted single mother. Chores had to be done at exact times. Not by the afternoon. Not sometime today. No. Vacuuming. 3:45 p.m. Dishes. 3:55 p.m. Laundry. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 5:35 p.m. to 7:55 p.m. Exactly. If laundry was still running at 7:56 p.m., she would literally shut off the power. Just to prove she could. This is the kind of environment that doesn't just break routines. It breaks people. Even though the house had 6 bedrooms, only one was allowed for the mother. One for the 2 kids to share. Even as they grew into teenagers, there was a beautiful spare bedroom. Sunlit, always clean, always ready. But no one ever slept in it. Not one guest. Not one relative. Not once in 10 years. It existed only so Aunt Elle could say, "This is my house. I decide who gets what." When their church gently suggested that the teenage daughter should have her own room for privacy, Aunt Elle was furious. How dare someone tell her what to do in her own home? You know those people who crumble under any authority but turn into tyrants when they hold even a tiny sliver of power? That was her. And the kids paid for it. As they grew older, even her own children began refusing to live with her. They'd stay at their father's as often as possible. She couldn't control them anymore, so she focused on the 2 kids who couldn't escape. The boy, the eventual mastermind of this story, was especially vulnerable. He had no confidence, no sense of self. Years of finger-snapping commands, screaming, intimidation. It wore him down until he felt worthless. And in his darkest moments, he later admitted, he wasn't sure he would make it out alive, emotionally or mentally. This wasn't strict parenting. This was abuse. Fast forward to after high school. He was 18, working his first job, starting community college, trying so hard to build a future. And then, one afternoon, Aunt Elle announced, "You owe me rent. This month and next month. You're an adult now." No discussion. No warning. Just control. Just dominance. Something inside him finally snapped. He told her, finally for the first time, "No, you can't do this. You need to give 30 days notice." And for the first time in his life, he turned away from her. He walked away. But authoritarian people don't allow disrespect. She grabbed his wrist, hard, screaming that he was attacking her. He pulled away instinctively, and she slammed her own wrist into the wall corner. She would later call the cops, tell everyone he beat her, change her story again and again. But all he did was walk away. Still, she had him kicked out, banned from the house, cut off from visiting his own mother and sister. Years passed. His mother eventually broke free, got her own place, and rebuilt a life. His sister grew up, healed, and started a family. The cousins distanced themselves from their mother. And the boy, now a grown man, built a career working with the government. Smart, disciplined, respected. Everything his aunt said he'd never be. He forgave her for what she did to him, but not for what she did to his mother and sister. Some wounds don't fade. They calcify. They become lessons. And eventually, they become motivation. Now here's where the revenge becomes art. Because he didn't rush. He didn't lash out. He didn't seek drama. He waited. He observed. He learned. And he discovered something important. His aunt was terrible with money. Terrible with business. Terrible with investments. The only reason she had wealth was because she married into it and divorced well. But now, decades later, her fortune was running out. And she was desperate for a way to make more. That's when he planted the seed. Talking casually with his cousins, who trusted him completely. He mentioned a promising real estate opportunity. Future development. New construction. Area booming soon. All technically based on true, public facts. But he sprinkled in strategic embellishments. Nothing illegal. Nothing insider. Just enough to nudge someone greedy and uneducated into making a very bad decision. He knew his cousins would relay the info to their mother. She always wanted to feel financially superior. Always wanted to outsmart everyone. Always wanted to be the boss. So when she heard about the land, she pounced. And she bought $300,000 worth of undeveloped commercial land. Her entire remaining savings. She thought she was about to become rich. But what she actually bought was worthless dirt. Because the truth was simple. The government had no plans to build there. None. Zero. Environmental analysis showed the land was unfit for development. Too expensive. Too unstable. Too risky. So the real project? It shifted 6 miles away. To land that wasn't hers. Her property value tanked. No one wanted to buy it. No one could build on it. 3 of the 4 lots are literally rotting weed fields now. Sitting beside abandoned buildings and industrial eyesores. And the best part? She refuses to sell unless she gets her original price. So she's stuck. With nothing. And she still has no idea that she walked straight into a trap crafted by the boy she abused. Some revenge is loud. Explosive. Dramatic. But this was quiet. Calculated. Elegant. The woman who once controlled everything. Who used money to enslave a struggling single mother and her children. Lost every last dollar. Because she couldn't resist the same arrogance that destroyed her family. And the beautiful part? Her own children unknowingly delivered the final blow. The boy she tried to break grew into a man she could never manipulate again. And he took her power from her the same way she once took it from them. Not with violence, but with strategy. Karma didn't forget him. He just helped guide it to the right address. You know, people like her always believe the world owes them something. But eventually, life has a way of balancing the scales. And sometimes, the sweetest revenge isn't anger. It's watching someone trip on the very trap they built for others. If this story gave you chills, or reminded you of a time someone finally got what they deserved, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying real-life karma you've ever seen? And trust me, more stories like this are on the way.